I realized I didn't have to jump last time because I'm not streaming sound from here anyway.
No.
The sound is going through.
Yeah.
I didn't. It was not connected. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Welcome everybody.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Yasya Prasadadagyapi Sadhya Sarvagyatam Rajet Sashi Chaitanya Devame Bhagavan Samprasidatu Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome to the Southern Ocean, the third wave. So this is chapter 28, which is translated as Existential Ecstatic Love. So this is a very nice, touching title, Existential. Somehow in the West, existentialism is something very sad. Being very sad about life and existence. Existentialism is defined as some fighting with the hostile universe. But it's a translation of the Sanskrit word satvika. So sat in Slovenian we have sem or yas, sam, in Croatian sam they say, right?
That's
Also sem. Some, yeah.
Yes.
So you can see that ajopi san avyayatma, although I am unborn, Krishna says. So san is connected to existence. So therefore, sattvika bhava, the 8 sattvika bhavas, is our third ingredient of rasa. And sattvika means that our existence is mixing with the prana, consciousness, and body. And it produces very strong ecstasies. So this is the most visible and the most ecstatic ecstasy. So very funny that we have so many different ecstasies. We have to define them. So the definition is that sattvika bhava is an involuntary physical symptom or a symptom in the body, occurring when emotions in the primary or secondary mellows intensely overpower the heart. And from the 17th chapter, you may remember the close connection between chitta, heart, and sattva and existence. So that's why it's called sattvika. So sattva does not only mean the mode of goodness, sattva also means just existence or being. So that's how it's connected. It's not about goodness. So Prabhupada is quoted in the Waves of Devotion that when a devotee is always intensely affected by love for Krishna in a direct relationship with him, or even a little apart from him, this status is called existential ecstatic love. So again, in other places, Srila Prabhupada will give somewhat other translations. Oftentimes this is called Ashta Sattvika Vikara, 8 Sattvika, again, existential, or to translate directly, or Vikara transformation, 8 transformations which are connected with our existence in this world, Ashta Sattvika Vikara. Yes. So, what is the difference between Sattvika Bhava and Anubhava? One is rather clear.
One is voluntary, other one is involuntary.
Yes, thank you. So one is
So it is difficult to understand how hiccuping and belching is voluntary.
well, if you want to express your gratitude for a full meal, in some countries you have to belch. So you could suppress it or you could allow it. So basically it means that it involves also our intelligence. Okay, so we have some very scientific explanations about ecstatic love divided into 3 headings: moist, burnt, and dried up. Okay, so this is to explain how true they are. So what we want are buttery, oily, moist. How else can we? Yeah, so also snigdha can mean connected with love. So this is the most desirable type of sattvica bhava, because it means that this is transformation that's coming directly in our rasa, in our interactions, in our mellow with Krishna. So this is snigdha. So we will have the examples here, that we have Radharani, who heard Krishna's flute, the vibration of Krishna's flute, and became stunned. And then, so this is mukhya, means in our direct interaction with Krishna. Then you have gona, means secondary, indirect, additional. So this is also in one of the 7 rasas where Krishna is the Vishaya and we are the Ashraya. But these are not 5 main rasas, mukhya rasas. So here we have Mother Yashoda rebuking Nanda Maharaj for taking Krishna to Mathura. So she was very angry and her voice began to falter. This is one of the sattvica bhavas. But it's in an indirect mellow of anger. This is the example illustrating also moist, meaning it's the direct interaction with Krishna, or meaning it's a rasa with Krishna. So maybe we should immediately give the other ones. So snigdha, it's within the framework of our rasa, eternal rasa with Krishna, internal relationship with Krishna. Whereas digdha, Rupa Goswami, classifies an existential, or how to say, ecstasy, sattvica bhava, burnt, which is instigated by some of the other emotion, which is not either primary or secondary rasa. So here we have the example of Putana dreaming in the night and waking up because of her fear. So she had a nightmare with Putana. So this is not her rasa with Krishna. She's not afraid of Krishna. She was afraid of Putana. So it's not her interaction, not her rasa with Krishna, so therefore it's called digdha. And so she was trembling, she was waking up and trembling. And dried up is something we do not want, because the first 2 are by a devotee, and ruksha means dried up. This is one of the descriptions of food in Rajagun, dry, like some potato chips or something, I don't know. So it's a description of food in passion. So this is an example of somebody who is not a devotee. So their heart is dry. So if one is a devotee, then it's either moist or burned. It's very appropriate for cooking, examples appropriate for cooking, but this is dried up. So this is somebody who is an impersonalist. It's not in his relationship with Krishna. So here is an impersonalist, he sees a kirtan party, it could be a materialist, and he feels ecstasy. He may dance and with hair standing on end. Why? Because he thinks, what he wants is liberation. He thinks, I want liberation. He feels, I have a strong desire for liberation, and now he thinks, oh, now I will achieve liberation. Now I will achieve liberation. And he's in ecstasy. So that's not something we want. As I remember when I moved in Vrindavan with my friend. We were walking down the street, and there was some sannyasi walking in the opposite direction, and he saw us, and he took us by the hand, and he said, "You cannot imagine how lucky you are. You're so fortunate. I'm coming from Varanasi. And this is incredible. You cannot compare. This is so wonderful. Vrindavan is so amazing." And he was in complete, very sincere ecstasy. I don't know, maybe he was somewhat of a devotee, but even he said he's a Varanasi sannyasi, mostly they are impersonalists, but he still felt ecstasy, so that could be motivated by his desire of liberation. Can even be motivated by one's desire of some material blessing or some material result. And the person sees devotees, he thinks that, yeah, this will bless me, so either in the temple or, if they are already in the temple, they must have some little faith, and they can see devotees, and they can express a full-blown, real ecstasy of sattvika vikara, eight bodily transformations. So the 8 bodily transformations are, the famous ones are stamba, so you become stunned, you can't move. It's like paralyzed, petrified, but in a good sense, out of ecstasy. Then sweda, perspiring. So when Krishna. It also has some diaphoresis, or something. It has some, I forgot what's the Western medical term for this perspiring. They all certainly have some Latin terms. And then the next one, you may recognize, we sing every day in our Mangalarati. Romanchakam Pashutarangavajo. Yes. So you can see 3 are mentioned: Romancha, Kampa, and Ashru. So Roma, Ancha. Roma is hair, and Ancha is the end. Ashru are tears. Kampa is trembling. Okay, and that leaves us only 2, Svara, Bheda. So Svara is sound, Bheda division. So we choke, we can't speak. Our voice is choking. Not choking because we can't breathe. It's not like suffocating, but our voice is trembling in emotion.
It comes to here, then it can go on.
Actually, I don't have much experience with it. You do?
No.
Yeah, sometimes it catches, something catches in the air. Actually, I guess all of us have some experience in the material life of some karma. And by Barnya, we have this in some bhajans, by Barnya. By Barnya, some bhajan, I think by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Varna, Varna is color, and this is V-Varna, changing color, and by Barnya is the symptom of changing colors. So either becoming white, like Jambavan, when after fighting with Krishna for 28 days, he recognized...
27 already.
28. on the 28th day, he understood, I'm getting tired and he's still fighting. I know only one person who can fight without getting tired. Oh my God, that must be him! And he stops and he becomes pale. I don't know how it manifests in a rickshaw, like Jambavana. Yeah, so that's by Barnya. And Krishna says, why are you stopping? Or becoming red. So, who was becoming red? You remember of some examples of somebody becoming red? In the face? I can think of Arjuna, maybe Bhima, becoming red in anger. Who else was becoming red? I don't know. Can't remember who else was getting red. Okay, so these are, and also pralaya. Pralaya is, here it's translated as devastation, so it's the also final annihilation of the universe. So there is a certain difference between stamba and pralaya. So the difference is, what's the difference? Somebody knows? Becoming stunned and becoming devastated. So becoming stunned affects our body and maybe words, whereas pralaya affects our body and words and mind. So become completely paralyzed, even in our mind. Okay, so these are the 8 transformations, quite known and famous. So Srila Prabhupada also writes that a pure devotee, he always feels these symptoms, which is quite amazing, but sometimes, or he says, Srila Prabhupada writes, by being afraid of outsiders, he does not generally manifest them externally. Shall I show it to you? Or rather let me do it like this. Yeah, Prabhupada says, the pure devotee always feels such symptomatic expressions, but afraid of outsiders, he does not generally manifest them externally. You know of some example of a pure devotee hiding ecstatic symptoms? Or someone who behaves as a pure devotee hiding ecstatic symptoms?
Maybe Srila Prabhupada.
During the lecture.
Yeah, when it happened, he was excusing himself. But when it happened that he could not hide, and he was excusing himself.
Yes. I was thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and meeting Ramananda Rai. So they met, they embraced, then I think they were rolling on the ground, if I remember. And then he controlled himself because there were non-devotees around. Okay, so Prabhupada, you can see he's encouraging us to not turn it into a circus or theater or drama. Okay, some questions here? Any questions here about ecstasy? No questions, okay.
So this, from previous, this ruksha, satika bhava, so it doesn't come from the emotion to Krishna, right? It's some other emotion who reacts with the elements.
We can say it is connected with Krishna, but it's based, so in other words, they don't. So again, out of our 5, we still have it here? Yes, we have. Out of our 5 ingredients, what do they miss in Okay, so Anubhava, they have come to the temple, they may sing, they may dance. Vyabhichari, they may have some inspiration. Yeah? Sthai, well, if you count Shanta as sthai, I don't know, it's not really there sthai, but one key ingredient is completely flipped. And this is Vibhava. They are not someone who is trying to make Krishna happy. They feel that, okay, now Krishna will make me happy. So they do not identify as someone who is trying to make Krishna happy. And therefore, this is Ruksha. They are not even considering I'm a devotee or I want to make Krishna happy.
The symptom is there.
The symptom, yeah, symptom can be there.
Stand, crying.
Yes. It's also, we can see a little later that there are different devotees with hard heart and soft heart. There will be several degrees of softness, and some people they cry easily. Some people cry very difficultly, with great difficulty. So different people. Plus, basically, we will also see that there has to be some vyabhichari coming. There will be some, so there, for this to manifest, you need to have some sthai bhava, and then vyabhichari will create a wave, and then some, so these combined, they will lead to, so actually all of them combined, they will lead to one of the 8 transformations in the body. But in a non-devotee, they don't have vibhava, and of course, sthai bhava, forget about sthai bhava. But even if you count any person as someone who strives for some shanta or in reverence, still they don't have vibhava of trying to get the rasa flowing towards Krishna. Okay, so. Yeah, we have this also in the beginning. Okay, so this is. Yeah, here is a nice chart from Urmila. So when the heart becomes overwhelmed by ratis, either directly or indirectly. So there can even sometimes be vyabhichari, exciting or creating some emotion. And yes, so because they have a strong desire, therefore they will it can disturb the pranas in such a way that they will manifest some visible ecstasy. If you do not have a strong emotion, we will not attain such a bodily transformation, sadvika vikara. So this is also the difference, if you remember, between reflected ecstasy, and there are 2 kinds of reflected ecstasy in chapter 18. Rati Abhas was already discussed. So one was Chaya, one was Pratibimba. I think Harinam Chintamani by Bhaktivinoda Thakur discusses this very nicely. That Pratibimba is a mirror reflection which can be very bright, and Chaya, it's preblisk, yeah? It's a glimpse or glimmer coming through the clouds. Like today in the morning here in Ljubljana, we had a cloudy or foggy sky, even I think foggy, like now you have bright sun. In the morning it was covered by fog. The sun was there, but it was not so bright, it was not so clear. So therefore it may not look so impressive as I went for a walk and there was some reflection of the sun from the window. So that was very bright, looking almost like the sun, as bright as the sun. So still, which is better? Bright reflection in the window or cloud-covered sky in this comparison? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, of course, it's better to have... Huh?
Clear sky.
Well, go. Huh?
Ne, nic.
Reci.
Anything but clouds is better.
Hmm?
Anything but clouds is better.
Actually, clouds are better.
Better?
Yes. Because, again, pratibimba means that they don't want to go to Krishna. They have no desire for Krishna.
So that is not good.
Yeah, it's not good. So Prabhupada says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, it's reflected in the water of their desire, in the mirror of their desire. They have some strong desire, but it's completely disconnected from Krishna. So it may be bright, ecstatic, but not desirable. Okay. No sattva gun, no sadhika, soft or moist, burnt and dried out. Such nice. Okay. Okay, so here is another nice chart. So you have a person with a sthayi bhava, and this sthayi bhava is flowing within a certain vibhava. So there is Krishna as the object and devotee as one who wants to please Krishna. Then some wave of sanchari bhava arises. So there are 33, either jubilation or anger, or some of the 33 may arise. And it touches one's mind, heart, sattva, prana, and body. And then what happens is that one of the 8 transformations, sattvika bhavas, manifest. Is it clear? Yo.
It's too much to write to.
You don't need to write. You need to just think about this. And yeah, it's like learning a new language. So if you
What is that? I don't remember. Yeah.
if you just pick one term, maybe you can understand. But altogether, it's already a sentence, and you may not catch.
Better is to understand.
How would we define this sattva here? Which is not sattva guna.
Heart.
Condition of a heart.
Just heart. Heart and consciousness. So chitta. We had this translation as chitta. So heart, faith are closely related in chapter 17 of the Gita.
So these emotions touch the heart, and then the sattvika bhavas are manifested.
Yes. So when they agitate the heart, they touch the heart, and then it connects with one of the elements in the body. Sometimes, if it's uddipta or jwala, it can be more than one ecstasy, several ecstasies together. So then it becomes very strong.
And how does the heart combine with these elements of the body? How does that happen? Like
How the heart what?
Here it says that these different elements in the body. So what is the connection between these elements like water, fire, air, what is here, and the heart?
The heart is connected to prana and consciousness. So our subtle body is connected to prana. Prana is like the next level. So therefore they touch prana, and then from prana it touches all the other elements of the body.
What touches prana? What touches prana?
your heart and consciousness and subtle body.
They touch prana.
Yes.
How does that look like?
Huh?
How does that look like? I mean, pranas are circulating in the body all the time.
Yes.
How is it that they are touched by the heart? What does that mean?
Like, for example, if you are disturbed, you may start breathing heavily, yeah, or scared. Or if you are paying very close attention, sometimes you stop breathing, like when you are threading a needle. Yeah? You stop breathing. So you can see that your state of consciousness is affecting your breath and your whole body. Sometimes your emotion touches, through prana touches, your body color changes, you become pale or red. The body becomes pale or red. So that's how it touches.
Okay.
So these three areas, the mind, the pranas, and the physical body are interrelated. And from one you can influence the others. By taking care of one, you can influence the others. Hare Krishna. Now, there is also a chart. Okay, this is a very nice chart in... where is it? Yes. Which element produces which sattvika bhava? So earth, if it touches the earth element, you become stunned. If water, you cry. That's pretty logical, right? If fire, then you either perspire or change color, or both. If air, so that's trembling, faltering voice, and hair standing on end. These three are air mixed with this emotion. And
mind.
Ether, this is pralaya, or complete devastation of body and speech and mind. So you can see that earth produces one symptom, water produces one symptom, and space produces one symptom. Only fire produces two symptoms, and air produces three symptoms. Interestingly enough, so air is very easily moving somehow. Our body is very air-based, and it produces three symptoms, three sattvika vikaras. Okay. Can you remember any time when you were experiencing any of these symptoms at any moment in your life? Can we, so how shall we?
Many times cannot speak.
Yeah, I think those who smoke marijuana, they call it getting stoned, right? Stoned. Getting stoned. I don't know if the other drugs are also get stoned, but from marijuana you're getting stoned. So that's something it seems to be close to this first ecstasy. Stamba. Stamba also means like pillar, becoming like a pillar. Anyway, so can you think of some time when you, even materially, because we will see that even in the material life, so it's coming from the drama science. So it is manifesting also in the material life, but the basis is something material.
I have a flattering voice when I get a little bit angry.
So, I don't know, can we get all our online people into one room? Yeah? Meaning online. So, maybe I can ask all the online group share any instance of that's possible to discuss. Any instance of experiencing any of these 8 transformations.
But is it connected with Krishna, or just you are crying because something is not going as you would like, or you want to take something from someone and using the technique of crying, or
if there is something with Krishna, this is very nice, but even if it's not connected, just so that we relate this to our life, even if it's not connected. Yeah? Yes. So let's take a few minutes and maybe you can remember some instances of experiencing something like this. Okay? Okay, and here we can mute, right?
Yes.
Or we'll mute centrally from
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. How many minutes do you have there for the...
No, I reduced to 30 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, okay, Hare Krishna. Any questions from our online discussion or comments from our online breakout room? Mahalakshmi Dama, I can't hear. Can you
Unmute.
unmute? Did you find? Yes.
Haribol? I would just like to ask Vinata Mataji to tell the story to the end, if it's possible, because it was in the middle of the tears.
In the middle of what?
Crying.
Okay, who shared?
So,
Vinata, who shared?
No, I just gave an example of crying, how it was of crying. Crying as this symptom. That happened once to me when I was in Croatian camp in Premantura, and when, as far as I remember, Japataka Maharaj came for the first time in Croatia, in this area, and when he entered this room, the tent, I just started to cry like anything for no obvious reason, and lasted for quite a long time. And when he started the lecture, he was talking about Ganges coming to the feet of Lord Chaitanya and then wanting to touch him and then going back, and it was all so emotional, and I started crying again and I could not control it. It was like, I think it was something special.
oh, that reminds me. Yes, I remember once I did cry in connection with Krishna. I do remember.
Okay, you're all ears.
I shared this already before, that I was struggling with my Guru Maharaj Gopal Krishna Maharaj. It's probably one of the areas where our interactions with our Guru touches our heart. So he engaged me so thoroughly that for several weeks I had to take care of his tea, translation, kartals, this, that, and he would throw more and more and more and more. And I was fully 100% absorbed. And it was very nervous, and then when he finally left, I went for a japa walk, and I went to a river, and I cried. First and last time. Hopefully not the last time. So probably there was some absorption, some blessings, and then, so Vibhava was probably that I wanted to serve, and the Abhicharya probably was that he left. So there was some separation, yes? And this sort of started the, a little wave. And then I was surprised. I usually I don't cry. I do perspire a lot. Easily. This is no problem. But yes, I do remember one. And I think this is okay to share because this was not my... it was during japa, but not because of japa. It was because of Guru Maharaj. Finding one way how even such a dry stone to make some wet eyes. You get some wet eyes on this dry stone. But yes, with the spiritual master, this probably it's not accidental. The spiritual master is Krishna's representative for us. Okay.
Hare Krishna, I can share something with you.
Yeah, please.
I know when I first time read Hare Krishna book, when I read Krishna, I started to cry. First time I heard the name Krishna, I started to cry.
Nice. This must be probably from the previous life, something, right? like meeting your old friend. Thank you, thank you. And Nityananda Prabhu says that if on hearing or chanting the name of my dear Lord Gaura, you get one tear, you can buy me with this tear. This one tear, I'm sold.
You're waiting for that.
Yes. This is the bhajan by Bhakti Akademija-Nektar. That he's selling him. He says, for one tear, I'm selling myself. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I hope we can see that this is something real, something that happens to most of us. Some of these symptoms will be easier due to different reasons. For example, one reason is we have different bodies with different degree of connection to the different elements, and we have different subtle bodies, different softness, so many reasons. So we will therefore be disposed to one symptom or the other. The cultural influence, like if you read the older, like for example, now boys don't cry. You're trained from the childhood, boys never cry. And girls, yeah, you cry. And therefore, if you read some older classic literature, you can see how adult men, at the smallest provocation, they shed many tears, a lot of tears. Yeah? It was like just 300 years ago or 200 years ago. Yeah? The men were crying, no problem. But the fashion changed, so we are training ourselves to never cry. So it can be also some external influence. I remember once I was with Niranjana Maharaj at a festival in South Russia, and he was with Dhruva, the one who has published this beautiful, very beautiful photo album about Nrisimhadev, this second generation devotee. So he pointed to the devotees who were crying, and he said, "Look, in America they don't cry like this." And I said, "But I read that when Prabhupada was going to the airport, they were crying."
Devotees were, Devotees?
Devotees, yes. This is what provoked, who was it, Shrutakirti? He asked Prabhupada, "I probably don't love you because I'm not crying." Yeah? And I said, "But I read that they were crying when Prabhupada was leaving." So Niranjana Maharaj said, "Yes, but maybe, but the tears were much smaller." So maybe some also, in different persons will be different manifestation of these sattvic laws. But again, I asked Ananda Prabhu to bring everybody back because I wanted to say that you can see that Srila Prabhupada is de-emphasizing the manifestations of these ecstatic symptoms. Because they can be material, they can be conditioned, they can be mixed, and at any rate, they are not 100% reliable proof. This is why we had these sattvika bhavas as anubhavas as a reliable symptom of reaching the level of rati. Because these are not reliable. Can be maybe I'm just sentimental, or maybe I didn't sleep for 3 nights and therefore I'm nervous and so easily. Vinada Mataji, you have your hand up?
I have also again the same problem because obviously I cannot digest that. Can we call these symptoms sattvika bhavas if we don't have our sthai bhava revealed? You said that if you can feel something if there is rati abhas, but is that then sattvika bhava when of course we feel something that I can understand and I have some experience. But can we call that sattvika bhava if we don't have this sthai bhava, our relationship with Krishna?
I will bring back Prabhupada's statements from the first canto that everything we see around ourselves is a reflection of the 12 rasas. And if you understand the 12 rasas in the spiritual world, you will understand the 12 rasas in this world. So everything we have in the material world is a reflection of this, of the nectar of devotion. So even for a materialist, they will manifest all 5 in the material life. I mean, in some loving relationship or friendly relationship or something. So
but that's true, but then we don't have proper Ashraya and Vishaya.
yes, exactly, yes. So this was offline, right? Right, when we were mentioning. What was it? Yes, this is why I emphasized in the beginning that some devotees claim that the whole sadhana is aimed at establishing vibhava. And this Ruksha, Pratyabhas, Ruksha, Sattvika, Bhava, Abhas is impersonalist. Of course, it's still connected to Krishna. It's a reflection of devotees' emotions. And at least some connection to Krishna is there, but Vibhava is wrong. So Krishna there is not the object of love, but the giver of blessings. So therefore it's called Ruksha. They do not identify as devotees. But even for non-devotees, when there is no Krishna, like, I don't know, but maybe these people across the street or across 2 streets, I'm sure we can find probably at least a couple non-devotees there, who are not devotees yet. So they will also manifest something that can be classified and analyzed within all the 5, all this what we are reading. Because this is the science of drama and psychology, basically. We are not interested in mundane drama and mundane psychology. We are interested in Krishna, so that's why this is the nectar of devotion. But it's the same mechanism. Reflected, wrongly reflected. In Prema Pradipa, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, what is Svargya rasa, heavenly rasa? You may remember. He says these are the same 12 rasas, just that the object is material, some material hero.
Yes, that I understand, but somehow in my too square mind, I have this idea that if this condition is not satisfied in the beginning, that there is this Ashraya and this Vishaya, and Ashraya has to be a devotee on the level of Bhava and this and that, then the emotions that are appearing are not the ones that we are discussing. So that's my problem. I can't go over that. I quit back and back to the same things.
Well, let me just show you the list of the 33. Where is it? Oh, we have this here, okay. The list of the 33. Okay.
Because everybody cries and perspires and trembles and hears.
Yes.
But is that Sattvika Bhava or that's just material emotion?
This is material Sattvika Bhava.
Oh, okay.
Material. Not spiritual. It has probably nothing to do except being a reflection.
So we can call those emotions material Sattvika Bhavas or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
So if we add this prefix, then I think my mind is satisfied.
Okay.
Thank you.
They are reflections, a reflection of a spiritual.
So Sattvika doesn't mean transcendental.
Neither transcendental nor even Sattva Guna. Just means, let's say, heart or existence, where or life.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. What else? Okay, let's continue. So this was our... This is why you can see Srila Prabhupada emphasizes, and also even Rupa Goswami is emphasizing the nine reliable symptoms of bhava, of a bhava bhakta. So this is probably one of the hallmarks of Srila Prabhupada's movement, that he pushes these sattvika bhava ecstasies to the background. They are neither a good proof, nor even to be desired as the goal of life. The goal of life is to establish vibhava. So again, I can quote a material, to make it stronger, I will quote you the material, Muni, yeah? Viktor Frankl, who said that happiness cannot be pursued, it can only ensue.
Yeah.
Understand?
The last part, no.
Understand? Happiness cannot be pursued, happiness can only ensue.
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 What means ensue?
Come as a result, follow.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try. You can only ensue. This is something that Sreća nima god... Pursue.
Isn't there some verse, some shloka that says the same, that you cannot get the happiness by running after it, but it comes on its own accord?
Well, yeah, it's, yes, it's not exactly. It's Prahlad Maharaj is saying that as soon as you desire happiness, you create all conditions for being unhappy. Nirihaya sukhavrita. But if you are free from desires, but this is less than being free from, more than being free from desires. So Viktor Frankl puts, in that sense, is closer to establishing some positive pursuit. So if you pursue meaning, actually his idea is that you live meaningful life. You try to live meaningful life, and then happiness will come as a side effect. And if you try to pursue happiness or comforts, you will be miserable. So, what's the proper translation? Yeah, another matter. Please translate for us. Happiness cannot be pursued, it can only ensue. Can you think of some, do you see this, English here?
Yes. Ne znam, sreću ne možemo doseći tako da jurimo za njom, nego se ona sama pojavi.
Okay.
But I was thinking... I was thinking about
as a result of our activity. Yeah, ensue doesn't mean because sama pojavi means that on its own just pops in, but ensue it follows as a result of our action. Mm-hmm. We pursue meaning, and it comes, it follows, right?
Yeah, but that action couldn't be the.
Yeah, can you first translate? Can you first translate, please?
Okay. I can't. Sreću ne možemo dobiti. No, I can't.
Krishna.
It's difficult. Ensue, I don't know this word.
Comes as a comes as a side effect. Samo se pojavi kod
stranski produkt.
Stranski produkt. Okay.
Stranski produkt.
Well, this is what Vishnu Chakravarti says, that for us, bhakti and mukti, liberation and material comforts are unsought, means we are not seeking them, not looking for them.
We can't get happy if we want to get happy. We can get happy when we want Krishna to be happy.
That's too specific. You can see this sort of makes it as a broader principle. Yeah.
Anyhow,
how about
we do some other things.
Unsought side effect. This is what Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives. Come on. This is really no. Unsought. Can you translate unsought? Means no. Krishna.
Ono što nismo tražili, netraženi.
Netraženi, okay. Netraženi. Yes, very all correct. Neiskan. Okay, neiskan. You can say neiskan. Okay. Kod neiskana posljedica.
Kod?
Neiskana posljedica.
Sought.
Understand like this? No. Neiskana.
I understand. Yes.
Posljedica. It's posljedica, it ensues, but it's neiskana. It was not.
Yeah, that is good definition. Yes.
It was not your primary goal of this activity.
Yeah, that's a good definition. If you are trying to get this, you can't.
Yes. Okay, Vinata Mataji, sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying?
That's okay. I just wanted to say, I got this idea that happiness and distress are the results of our previous activities, like our karma, and that they come in that sense on its own accord. That it's not that we can then we can force it, because it's not that the situation is happiness. We can get a situation or something like that, but it is not that we will feel happy necessarily in the situation in which somebody else feels happy. So this feeling is kind of, I don't know if it's correct. It is coming from our previous activities, from our previous karma. So we have our
Previous
quantity of
and current. Previous plus current. Karma is not only from past life. Karma is also from today.
True.
Like, you know, if I jump to the ceiling at 9 o'clock, maybe 9:15 will be difficult to fall asleep. If I don't go to the dining room, to the kitchen, you know, maybe I'll get food, maybe not, right? At least I should go see, right? But if I don't go, maybe yes, maybe no. So that's a combination.
Yeah.
Or they can bring even food, but if I lock my door and don't open, then you have to do at least some. Or Burijan Prabhu says, at least even if they put the food into your mouth, you have to chew. Then you have to swallow.
You know, one was asking God, please give me 1 million on the lottery. Once, twice, 3 times, I don't know how many times he asked. And then God said, but at least buy the ticket.
At least one ticket. Buy at least one lottery ticket. Yes. So yeah, it's a common misconception about karma that we need to be like a mushroom, not doing anything, right? Karma is also from this life, and actually Bhishma Dev says that this is an excuse of lazy people. They say karma. Actually, of the true, effort is more important. Because he says, Nahi sutasya simhasya pravishanti mukhe mriga, that even though it's the lion's karma to eat the rabbits, you understand? It's the lion's karma to eat the rabbits. Everybody understands? You understand? Lev, to jest lewowa karma jest zajce. To eat the rabbits. It's lions. The karma leva jest zajce. Correct? Did I say it correct? Yeah. Yes. But if he's not running, or if he's just sleeping, they do not come and jump into his mouth. This is from Hitopadesha. This is the Sanskrit verse. Prabhupada is quoting this. It's his karma, but if he doesn't run like mad, they don't jump into his mouth. So it's two. And he says, of the two, effort is more important. Both in, this Bhishma Dev in the Mahabharata and Hitopadesh. It's a common thing. Yes, Vinodamata. Go ahead.
I definitely agree, but also I have heard one story which is interesting, one presentation of one lecture about two scientists. There was this person, he gave the names, but I forgot. An Indian scientist who found out something, but something important, some solution, something, I don't know what it was, I forgot. But the fact was that he was never credited for that. But then another British guy came and he took his thing, presented it, and he got all the glory and became widespread known as the one who has found this thing, whatever it was. And then this lecturer, he said that this is because the first guy, he didn't have the karma to become famous. Yes. He had the karma to be able to find this thing, discover, or what is the proper name, expression, but he didn't have karma to be famous. And the other one had the karma to be famous.
But they both were working on it, yes?
For sure, yes. Okay. No, so the other one just took this thing. He did not discover it. He just came in contact with this guy and he took his thing, his whatever it was.
So next life, they will just switch the places.
Yeah, but it is just to say that some karma, they worked on it, But
This is our very big problem, that we mix two areas of philosophy. There are two separate areas. One is ethics, this is what to do. And the other is metaphysics, what is. So oftentimes we think, because you can see that some people even work, and they do not get the result, so this is karma. So that's metaphysically correct. But then we translate this, therefore why work? So Krishna in the Gita says, that's why karma, akarma, and vikarma are karma nohi gahanahi karmana gatihi. It's very convoluted. Because we don't like to work, or we like to work the way we want to work, but it's a separate branch. This is what Ramanujacharya says, that when Krishna says nobody kill and nobody can be killed, it's not an ethical statement directing what to do, it's a metaphysical statement to have the proper vision. So therefore, the danger of this is that we translate metaphysical, we use metaphysical in ethical domain. It's a problem that we all face in this world.
How does metaphysics and ethics in Sanskrit language, in our philosophy?
I was looking for it to. I think it's probably Sambandha and Abhideya or something like this, right? This is Sambandha, what is, and Abhideya, what to do about it. And even this verse, Tasaiva heto prayateta kovido, that you quoted in Adamadaji from the first canto. One should not strive for that which can be found within the 14 worlds. It does not mean that you do not do your duties, right? And our duties include all the work also.
Yes, but there is also a response to this person who says, why should I work when if everything is like coming from previous life? Because you will have next life. And you are working also for the next life. And the other thing is you will not be satisfied if you don't do something.
Yeah, it's called, in Sanskrit, they're called sanchita, collected from before, and the other is kriyamana, the one that is being collected now, the current. And they can be in different proportions. For some people, you just need to do a very little effort, and for some people, you can do a lot of effort, and maybe some results will not come. Doesn't mean you shouldn't work in a balanced way. Okay, let's move to our...
Just one thing I say, Haribol.
Yes?
Maybe sukha dukkha, happiness and distress comes, we don't have any power to overcome these things, happiness and distress.
So what's the question, or what's the point?
No, I just come in the mind to me. I don't know if have this something with the conversation.
I did not get the connection. So you're saying sukha dukkha cannot overcome one's mind, yes?
Sukha dukkha comes and goes. It comes, happiness comes and happiness goes. We cannot do anything about that. We are just satisfied. If we satisfy Krishna, then we are happy. And everyone is happy.
This is Krishna's recommendation in Gita 2:57. Dukeshu nudvignamana, sukeshu vigataspiha. When misery comes, do not become too disturbed, and when happiness comes, do not become overjoyed.
Thank you, Haribol.
So even for that, we need some effort to not be moved too much. Okay. Okay, so again, we have.
Do you share?
Oh, is it not sure? Ah, because it threw me out. Okay. Sattva. Yes. So, again, we have Sattva, surcharged consciousness, moving chitta, can say consciousness, and it may be spiritual, it may be material. Chitta, vritti, nirodha are the movements of the consciousness. Oops, why did it jump so far? Yes. And then movement of our consciousness will naturally move the life air, and then it moves the elements of the body. And depending which element it moves, then it produces one ecstatic symptom or the other. Yeah. So here, okay, here is the chart in this form. So earth, you become stunned, water, tears, fire, perspiration or change of color, and then three effects of air, pulaka, svarabheda, and kampa. Romancha is a synonym of pulaka. Pulaka sharira. What's the some and pralaya is coming if ether is activated. Okay. So here you can see that Rupa Goswami adds specific vyabhichari bhavas: tribulation, fearfulness, astonishment, lamentation, and anger, which make one stunned. So you can become stunned in anger. Sometimes you can't speak. You're so angry you can't speak. Or
what are these? These are not the vyabhicharis.
Vyabhicharis?
No, they are.
They are vyabhicharis.
They are, huh?
Yeah. They're vyabhicharis. Even so whatever is not constant, even gona rasas can sometimes be called vyabhicharis. So if you call them sanchari, I mean both means they're transitory, they come and go. But technically these are 33 plus 9 others that are listed. So the examples of stamba by astonishment is Lord Brahma, who he stole the boys, and then he saw that the boys are in the cave, and then the boys are on the bank of the river still. And he looked there, he looked here, and he was very surprised, so much so that he was stunned. Like a golden statue with 4 heads. Hare Krishna.
2 sets.
Huh?
There are 2 sets of boys.
3.
3, yeah.
Because the eternal never even get moved. Okay. Brajabasis, when they saw that Krishna is holding Govardhan, they become stunned by astonishment, by lamentation. Is the demigods, when they saw that Krishna is swallowed by Bakasura and disappeared in Bakasura's belly, they become stunned. This is it. How so? How is it possible? He's invincible. This is our Lord, and he's swallowed by Bakasura. So they can't believe or move. Of course, then Krishna, what does Krishna do?
Something like fire, right?
He becomes hot, and Bakasura spits him out. And then what does Krishna do?
He
Splits, yes, in 2. Hare Krishna.
is black.
Amen. All right, so then Anubhava and Sattvika. Anubhava, what's the difference? Anubhava is an ecstatic symptom that results from heightened affection, and Sattvika is involuntary ecstatic symptom without any involvement of will or intellect, which occurs when Shuddha Sattva agitates the heart to a particularly significant degree.
The Shuddha Sattva is transcendental.
Yeah, for it to be transcendental. So again, this is the nectar of devotion, and still, even in this nectar of devotion, we see first Ruksha is described in non-devotees, Ruksha Satvika Bhava, and then at the end also Prabhupada will again emphasize that this is not to be imitated. So first, one more topic is here, the 4 degrees of intensity. So smoking, blazing, shining, and very, very bright. Uddipta. So Dhumayata, Jwalita, Dipta, Uddipta. This just will involve how long, and how pervasive. So is it for a short time, for a long time, only the hands or the whole body, and slightly or strongly? So then the explanation is that when you have 4 or 5 ecstatic symptoms, this is dipta burning. So 2 examples. Dear friend, so this is addressing Radharani, you are blaming the aroma of the flowers for the tears in your eyes. You're rebuking the air for the standing of the hairs on your body. And you're cursing, you're walking in the forest for your thighs being stunned. But your faltering voice reveals the cause to be different. It is just your attachment for Krishna. So 5 ecstatic, 5 satvika bhavas simultaneously. And Uddipta, it's 5 to 8. You can see even Suddipta is added, means all the 8. So that's Mahabhava or Srimati Radharani or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then some further explanations of these levels in non-devotees. So non-devotee, anybody remembers how it was called in non-devotees? There was moist.
Ruksha.
Ruksha, yeah. Ruksha means dried up. Okay, so you can see it sort of gives different axes of coordinates to understanding. So Srila Prabhupada says, all these symptoms are listed under the dried up Ruksha existential condition known as smoky. So they are not usually developing so brightly. There is one exception. In a devotional festival amidst dancing devotees, a non-devotee may sometimes exhibit sattvika bhavas which radiate up to the intensity of jvalita. So that's 2 to 3. Yes? Jvalita 3 to 4. 2, 3, yeah. Jvalita is 2 to 3. Okay. So, therefore, we must attend devotional festivals, even if some of us think, oh, what kind of a devotee I am. So come, and then, it may overpower us once, twice, and then finally, maybe the heart will start melting a little bit. Okay, so then we have the abhasas, again discussed. So, they are still all connected to Krishna, one way or another. So they are rati abhas when we reflect somebody's rati, somebody's true ecstatic love or bhava. Then sattvika abhas when there is soft-hearted emotional disposition. So I don't know if you know such examples, but sometimes there are devotees who cry very easily, and not pretending, but in truth, then Niksattva. Niksattva means that Niksattva Sattvika Bhava means that actually it didn't happen. It's pretend ecstasy. So it's a forced theatrical display. What was the example? Kirtaniyas in Bengal, they would have to show some ecstasy. You know, if you're a real Kirtaniya, then you have to show some ecstasy. So they were showing different ecstasies, and there was one Kirtaniya who was singing, and then he becomes stunned. So the other local man, he decided to hire his Kirtaniya who will be more ecstatic. So he asked, can you show ecstasy? He said, yes, sure. So he said, can you do ecstasy for half an hour or 1 hour? He said, yeah, I can do, but this will cost you. And how much? 5 annas. 5 annas, it was 20 paisa. It's like 1/3 of a silver rupee. So he gave him these 5 annas, and he was singing, Hare Krishna, and he got stunned. But he was not strategically thinking. He got stunned in a bright sun. So if you ever visited India in a bright sun, you know it's very hot. So he got stunned, and it was too hot. I mean, it's actually even dangerous. You can get sunstroke. So he was stunned, and then he decided too much of this. And then he started moving away. And the host started asking, but it was supposed to be longer. And he said, how much ecstasy do you expect for 5 annas? If you wanted longer, you should have paid more. So that's unfortunately something that's happening sometimes. And you can see Prabhupada is strongly discouraging this. He says, don't do this as a circus. Don't, let me show you Prabhupada's. Sometimes it is found that a non-devotee who has practically no taste for Krishna, no rules or regulations, can, by practice, make a show of devotional symptoms, even crying in an assembly of devotees. This shedding of tears is not actually an ecstatic loving expression, however. It is done simply by practice. Although there is no need to describe these reflections of ecstatic love, so this is Niksattva Sattvika Bhavas, Sattvika Bhava Bhavas. Rupa Goswami gives some instances where there is no actual devotional service and such expressions are manifested. There is one more, Pratipa, so it seems to be classed differently in different places, so by enemies. Also there is no true love, but there is some connection with Krishna. So this was our overview of the 8 ecstatic symptoms. So again, what are the 8 transformations of ecstasy?
Getting stunned.
Trembling,
Scared.
Trembling,
crying,
Changing color.
crying, changing color,
devastation,
devastation, yes, devastation,
Faltering voice.
faltering voice, yes, and one more. What did we?
Tears were crying.
Perspiring. Did you mention perspiring?
no,
Sweating. So these are the 8 involuntary ecstatic manifestations which are not to be imitated. So we have discussed degrees, 4 degrees, smoky, blazing, bright and very bright. We discussed 3 persons or three ways they are manifested. Snigdha, moist in devotees, in direct rasa with Krishna, then Digdha by devotees in some secondary rasa, or secondary emotion, and Ruksha by non-devotees. But still somehow in relationship to Krishna. Then we discussed which air produces which symptom. So in a way they do confirm a level, but you can see that they're not to be pursued, they are to come naturally after we establish vibhava, after we get our love to flow to Krishna, and after we follow the proper anubhavas or actions recommended by acharyas. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Happy access to all of us.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Oh, I have a hand. How is it? No, Vinod. Sure. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, there it was said, we went through the passage where it was said that the causes for these sattvika bhavas are vyabhichari bhavas. So is it always like that? Can they be because vyabhichari bhavas are emotions, no? So they are caused by the emotions. They cannot be caused directly by udipanas? Or udipanas evoke vyabhichari bhavas and then vyabhichari bhavas sattvika bhavas, or how does it work?
Yes, this is how it's described. Yes, vyabhicharis are emotions. I think it's far to search. Yeah, here, no. It's far to scroll.
On the first one, Urmila Mataji, in that first slide, she says vyabhichari emotions and sattvika involuntary expressions, anubhava voluntary.
There is another one, next one. So you see that uddipana stimulates the flow, and then it will create a certain. Where is it? Here. There was some mention of vyabhicharis, I think. Where was it? Anyway. So usually you have to create a certain wave or a strong movement of emotions to stimulate. I mean, basically, this is like deepening or intensifying the ecstatic flow, and then these can sometimes translate into physical symptoms. So basically, sattvika bhavas are bodily symptoms. You can see all 8 are bodily symptoms. So
bodily symptoms of the emotion.
Yes. When the emotions get so intense that it interferes with normal function of your body. Sometimes 1, sometimes 3, in Radharani all 8.
And they have been disturbed or whatever, agitated, these emotions by udipanas.
Uddipanas is what in general stimulates the flow of love. There is always this relationship of Ashaya and Vishaya, the source of love and the object of love. But Uddipana sometimes stimulates more of this love. And then you may, in different situations, you may get different of these vyabhicharis stimulated, and they add a certain spice to that flow. And then it may translate all the way into a bodily symptom, or maybe not always. But you can see that it's all the ocean of ecstasy. So there is nothing that's not ecstasy in beyond a certain level. So it may manifest or may not manifest. Prabhupada says again that a devotee may try to control the display of these bodily symptoms in some circumstances. Like Prabhupada was stopping his symptoms, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, or Radharani is trying to control, although she is in Vrindavan. So you can see they sometimes try to control.
Thank you. Thank you.
So therefore we are not aiming at sattvika bhavas. We are aiming at establishing vibhava and serving Krishna. And then the rest is a side effect or unsought. It just comes as a result of proper action. Okay, so all the best. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.